7 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few running backs I have as sleepers this week. The first guy, Javert Patterson of the Washington football team. So right here, Antonio Gibson, we know the last few weeks he's been banged up with his shin injury. And we don't know if he's going to play this week here for this Washington football team at the Green Bay Packers. So Javert Patterson, in my opinion, he's probably going to get the start and play on first and second downs for this Washington football team, with J.D. McKissic obviously being the change of pace back and third down and passing downs back. So Patterson right now, he's available in 92% of fantasy leagues. And this kid, I think he could have a good ball game, even in a game where the game script isn't going to be in Washington's favor at a tough Green Bay team this week. But Patterson, if he gets the opportunity and gets the start in this game, he's definitely a sleeper option and a guy you probably would play at your number 2 running back or flex position, especially with the buys this week. The next running back's Rashard Penny of the Seattle Seahawks. So Penny, it looks like he's going to come off the IR this week here, Pete Carroll said. And right now, we know Chris Carson's been on IR the last couple weeks with his neck injury. Alex Collins, we don't know if he's going to play in this Monday Night Football game. So right here, if Alex Collins doesn't play, Rashard Penny's a guy you definitely got to put in your lineup here, because he still could have a good game behind a pretty good offensive line over there in Seattle. We saw Collins last week versus a tough Pittsburgh defense run for 100 yards. So I think Penny in this ball game versus the Saints. We know Geno Smith, they don't want him throwing the ball 40 or 50 times here, Seattle, and they're going to run heavy. So if obviously Alex Collins is out, Rashard Penny's going to start, and he's going to be definitely a sleeper option and a guy to put in your lineup. And the third and final running back I have as a sleeper this week's Devonta Freeman of the Baltimore Ravens. So Freeman, he was signed off the street in the preseason here after the Saints got rid of him in preseason. And Freeman, he's looked pretty decent in the last 2 games here for Baltimore. Week 5 versus Indianapolis, 3 catches, 34 yards, and 1 rushing yard. And Week 6 versus the Chargers, 9 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown and 2 targets with no catch. So right here with Tabius Murray, he's banged up. We don't know his status for sure in this ball game on Sunday versus the Cincinnati Bengals. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He was pretty much limited on Thursday. And right here, Devonta Freeman, in my opinion, he's looked better than Le'Veon Bell. But I also could see Baltimore go back to Tyson Williams, who was a healthy scratch in Week 6. But right here, Freeman's been a big pickup this week, and I think he's looked pretty good as well, in my opinion. So I think Devonta Freeman, if Murray is out, is going to start and be a decent sleeper option. So that's a few running backs I have as sleepers here for Week 7 of the fantasy football season.